He didn't even hit the ground! Watch it move! Good night, he puts them in the grave! Only one, no, there's two injuries! It's a brutal beatdown, and he's got another one! AKM is back!
Justice reigns forever.
Rise and shine, gamers. I hope you have your Disney-appropriate breakfast food ready because we're jumping straight into our games here on the very last game day of Stage 2. Of course, playoffs are coming up next week, but Matt, we've got a few things to still wrap up today, including one more playoff spot that needs to be decided.
Yeah, you know, a lot of teams, obviously, their final match of Stage 2. The two last matches of the day, very important. One for the Shock, just trying to get a record, right? To not drop a map through an entire stage.
Which would be
really impressive.
Huge. It'll be unprecedented.
Super impressive. And then the final match would be the Hangzhou Spark versus Seoul Dynasty to decide the final playoff spot in Stage 2. But we can take a look at the season standings. So overall, Stage 1 and Stage 2 added up right now. The Titans, NYXL, the Shock way ahead of the pack.
I mean, look at the Shock. I mean, their map differential in this stage has definitely helped their season standings. They were like +4 after Stage 1.
Yeah.
But here's our Stage 2 standings. The Titans continuing to show us that they may be the most dominant team in the history of Overwatch, and you can potentially quote me on that one. The Shock at 6-0, still one more to game and 2 maps ahead of the Titans. Good chance the Shock actually end up being that top seed, which will give us some interesting playoff head-to-heads. But it's the Spark and Dynasty map later on today we need to see. But interestingly enough, you know, a couple of the teams in our first head-to-head today, the Eternal and the Defiant, have had rough stages.
Yeah, I think, you know, Paris has had a bit of a better stage than Toronto. We can take a look at Paris' schedule here through Stage 2.
I see a lot of L's, Matt.
I mean, look, you get the 2 wins. You think you would get over the Charge and the Mayhem. You don't really get anything else going. I think the loss to Spark really crushed them at the Dallas homestand. I mean, that is one where they had a chance at the end. We were casted, right?
Oh,
Sood
it was
throws
a messy match.
Yes, Sood throws a grab. Doesn't come down. Gets eaten up by the self-destruct.
You had to pick out that one scenario. Speaking of grabs, it's the Toronto Defiant schedule.
Ooh.
Not much easier. 5 losses on the trot.
Tough teams, though.
Absolutely. That's been well.
Boston's been pretty good. Philly, we know what they're capable of. Dallas, Shock, Titans, all playoff teams.
We've got some really interesting conversations, I think, to have about these two teams respectively in terms of individuals, how they've sort of fitted into the lineup and the impact they're having. But we'll have a chance to get to that after we bring out our first team to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the Paris Eternal.
Hit us with a curveball. This will be Toronto. Comes out here where I know they had a really good Stage 1. Stage 2, only 1 win. We were kind of hyping this team up as a little bit of an underdog. And no, Stage 1, that proved to be true. Stage 2, though, they have not been good. IM37 comes into the lineup. I think he could have been a new addition, but I really think it's, you know, the main tank role, Yakup. We need to see him play pretty much a little bit better.
The statistics haven't exactly, been very supportive, I suppose, of a couple of the moves that the Defiant have made roster-wise. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, it's a Sunday morning. We're all just waking up here. Now we have a chance to welcome to the stage the Paris Eternal.
Paris gets some love from the crowd as they would like to end their stage on a high note. I think, you know, you win these final 2 games of your Paris, you're potentially looking at a stage playoff. Like, if they beat the Spark, like, you know, it kind of turns around, their map differential starts to go up. They come in here against Toronto, who's only won 1 game this stage. It was their first game of the stage. I mean, this is a team that could have, you know, snuck their way in like a 7th or 8th seed, but now they find themselves on the outside looking in, just trying to rack up a win before the break.
This roster looks way different than what we saw in Stage 1, Matt. We saw a change up in main tank, even in coaching staff, and you have to wonder if that was maybe a catalyst for, you know, the move of Gray into the main roster, seeing Soon and Shadowburn sort of playing at the same time. Gray is a player that we have really high expectations of, right? A lot of fans of the European scene would know that this guy was the orchestrator of some huge wins, some really big victories in that Tier 2 scene. The last big European land before I left the Overwatch League, he was definitely a big part of, but we haven't seen that, Matt. We haven't really seen him dominate. You have to say, it is absolutely a team game. It's pretty tricky as well for a flex support to shine in a team that is having difficulty with their results, but you can see
Yeah.
that Gray has a lot of kill involvements, at least with these final blows.
Yeah, I mean, the final blows for Ana, for me, it doesn't really do it right. The Ana's supposed to be like a support in the back line. The healing done sitting at 12 towards the bottom, but I think Gray is a player that they kind of want to invest into the future. They had hip play all of stage 1. Gray didn't really get that much play time at all. They bring him in, they've looked better, playing more damage dealer comps, can play the Ana, can play the Zen here in stage 2. It's the map set presented by Toyota for this series, so Jiang Tower to kick things off, Temple of Anubis, map number 2, Kings Road, Gibraltar to end things. So Jiang, really good 3-3 map. You're going to see that on a lot of the points. Triple tank, triple support. Now, with Toronto, they have not been good on this composition in stage 2. I mean, they've really struggled keeping Yangpeng alive.
Look, and if they go towards a 3-3 setup, as we do sometimes see on Control Center, we hyped up IN37 as a player quite heavily when he first came into this team, but his team actually loses more fights after he uses grab. So his fight win rate drops by about 15% in fights in which IN37 uses his grab. So Toronto still not able to really make the most of him in that Zarya spot yet.
Well, I think, if you saw their last series, as it seems like Neko just having some issues right now, in their last series, they actually decided to swap them back. So IM37 now playing the Brigitte and Ivy now playing the Zarya, where when IM37 comes into the lineup, they move Ivy, who is their Zarya in stage 1, over to that Brigitte role, and then they have IM37 come in and pick up Zarya. And I mean, it didn't look bad on it, but it's just the team just seems to click better when Ivy is playing that Zarya.
I mean, he did discuss a little bit about, on Twitter about his play in Toronto's last matchup, and Ivy said, maybe my grabs are a little bit rusty. He had a couple of difficult fights when he was on that Zarya, and it might have been because I called him out like ages ago about a grab. Still sees the bother him. I thought he did a fine job, to be honest, but that is fine. Another team that actually made that switch between the Zarya and Brig positions was the London Spitfire. But it absolutely worked out for them.
Yeah, well, I think you put profit on anything. I mean, it would have worked out for them, right? Where it seems like maybe they're just trying to get Neko to have the right spray on. Maybe you wanted to change his spray.
Yeah,
maybe
it's like
the Boston one.
Even though he keeps telling us that he didn't mean to have his spray set up. It's like, this is really important, guys. Let's see you understand.
Is Toronto one of the more disappointing teams in stage 2? I think without a doubt. Yeah, look, with how good they were in stage 1. I mean, they were like the 3 or 4 seed in the playoffs for stage 1. I mean, they were really, highly talented roster. It's a team that you expected to play much better.
Look, what do they go, 5-2 in stage 1? Probably the most concerning thing for me for Toronto in stage 2 is the 4-0 loss to Dallas really hurt them. And then also losing to the Uprising at the start of the stage.
You expect them to be more competitive than that.
Well, we just know them to be more solid. Like, this was the team, in stage 1, it was sort of said like, oh, they're an underdog team. Yeah, okay, fair enough, but they were 5-2.
There's tape on them now, though, right? Where I think a lot of teams are able to see that, if you just pressure Yangpeng and force them out of position, there's a lot that you can do to them. Hey, we're back again. Yeah, but there's a lot that they can do to Yangpeng, with the Discord orbs, right? Pressure him down. Where we've seen him die early in a lot of fights, not really the Toronto Defiant being able to keep him alive. Where I think now that you see teams in stage 2, they have all that footage to look back after stage 1. It's not really a surprise what they're doing anymore.
Let's bring the standings back up again and show you guys sort of where these two teams sit. And I think this helps illustrate our discussion a little bit. So the Defiant, after a 5, I'm pretty sure it was 5-2, right, in stage 1. I could be wrong. Yeah, they'll be 1-5 now. So 6-7 after stage 2. They've almost had mirrored results between the two stages.
That's brutal.
And they're at -6 in the overall season. This is a team that was like really solid, no nonsense. I think personally that the sort of fall off of 3-3 compositions and sort of the rising to prominence of DPS-based compositions hurt the Defiant a lot.
And you see, that where that red line is, that's going to be our qualify play-in matches for the 7 through 12 seeds at the end of stage 4. The Reign actually getting to 12 at 7-7 with 2 wins against New York. How massive is that for Atlanta? Even just looking at this graphic now, if Atlanta doesn't come up with those 2 wins, you're looking at the Defiant up there, right? Still being able to hold on a bit, a little bit more separation. 2 big wins for Atlanta against New York. I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on the Defiant overall in the season to make those games up. You don't think they beat New York, so you're going to have to find a win against the top team somewhere else.
Now, as well, think about this play-in spot between 7th and 12th. The Philly Fusion was one of the outside teams last year heading into the playoffs and actually made it into the grand final. So keep that one in mind. All these teams still have a crank. They need to keep a respectable scoreline trying to go into the end of the season. It looks like we're sorting some stuff out on the stage a little bit, and I want to have a sip of my coffee, so we'll be back right after this. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've got some more of that paid coffee in me, and now we're ready to continue here in the lead up to this match. With two teams on losing streaks, one of them is going to end here.
I went down there and fixed it for everybody, so we should be able to
Did you?
Pretty soon. Yeah.
God bless.
Really quick.
It's like the Maven World League, except
Yeah,
Matt.
it's different now. Yeah,
He's actually
I needed my own league.
And Nate is just a figurehead, and Matt sends him like what to say.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yep. So blame me.
That's how I got here.
Actually, don't blame me. Don't blame me.
Right, so we're just resolving an issue right now. It's actually Neko.
Yeah.
Just an interface thing, so he's trying to work on that at the moment. I think the matchup, though, between him and Gray is going to be really interesting, right? Neko always touted as a big player. Definitely wasn't the Boston Uprising. A guy that shows a lot of passion in-game. Gray, on the other hand, is definitely more of a quiet achiever on this roster, but the orchestrator a lot of set plays that revolve around biotic grenade throws, like that nutty one we saw in Hanamura and other maps.
I think, you know, it's interesting. You mentioned the head-to-head between Neko and Gray, where I think Neko definitely a fantastic player. I definitely think, you know, he's proven himself in the Overwatch League in the past. I think what this match will be telling you is how important the main tank role is in the Overwatch League right now. Like we talk about, like if there was draft.
What are you trying to say?
Where I feel like Toronto has a really strong roster. I feel like if they can get Yakpung to play better, they'll be even stronger. Where I think you can see, like, look, it didn't work for Paris in stage 1, right? They had to take out Benbest. Now they brought in LH Cloudy, right? So when now they bring Cloudy into the lineup, they're able to play a little bit more Winston. They play a little bit more Wrecking Ball. I think you need to see some other looks for Toronto in the future. I don't know if you can continue to just play Reinhardt on every map. We see a lot of teams mixing it up, bringing in more ball compositions, more Winston 3-3, where I don't really think we've seen that much from Toronto.
Yeah, the no-nonsense style, I really think is a team that has come together quite recently, especially as an expansion team. They're focused on playing one specific sort of style. However, a team that has played a few different styles over the course of this stage and is looking to go for that perfect performance here in stage 2, caught up with us before their last match today to discuss their thoughts about getting that 7-0 perfect map record.
San Francisco Shock, 24 maps in a row.
We don't really care about like records that much. I mean, it was nice when we got the first record of like most map wins in a row, but we don't really look at it like a perfect stage. We just go into every match with a fresh mindset.
I don't know if anyone could disrespect them this much.
They are still spawn camping the Fusion.
I think we've been on this winning streak because we're really good at like adapting to any play styles.
저희는 공격적인 팀 그리고 수비적인 팀 그 사이에서 참 조율을 잘하는 팀이라고 생각을 해서 센 이유 중 하나가 아닌가 싶어요. 그게.
Will the Dragons be able to shut them down to stop that streak and make their way into the playoffs themselves?
I think we just need to worry about like their DPS comps and like Ding on Pharah.
Even DPS, I can beat them.
Oh, yeah,
like, cause I was against them, cause you know Kungdu had two teams, so I only against Ding a lot. And so I know his style.
Okay.
So, you know.
4 more to go to be the only team to have a truly perfect stage in Overwatch League history.
I'm personally very superstitious. I feel like people look at me like I'm a disgusting person, but if we're on a win streak, I don't wash my jersey. I mean, that sounds bad, but I'm a very not smelly person, so it's not bad. I smell great, actually. If I say we're the best team in the league, we're not. We're just gonna start losing.
Shock.
So I cannot say that, but we're
Shock.
very good. Okay, he thinks we're the best team in the league, but then we're gonna start losing. That's unlucky. I'll have him knock on wood later.
Rascal thinks Sinatra's mega weird
Mate,
after that, yeah.
You're definitely going to smell. Like, you can't really gauge if you smell or not effectively, right? The phrase "everyone likes their own brand" is true.
I was trying to think of a way I could defend him, but it's kind of tough.
Isn't it? You know, it's true.
I love you, Sinatra.
You know,
it's tough, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying, fam. And Rascal sat there like, bro, I've been wearing like a gas mask for weeks. It's not because I've got a cold, it's because I have to sit next to you and play. But I mean, look,
Hasn't affected their play at all.
Our desk thinks they will actually drop a map to the Dragons today, which kind of adds a little bit of extra stakes to the series. It's not even just about winning the series for the Shock, but trying to 4-0. I feel like it's better to focus on the 4-0 instead of just trying not to lose, right? I feel like that's much better mindset to have, but also, is that a bit of high expectation to have?
I don't know if the Shock really even, like, it'll be interesting to see, like, how much they value getting the 4-0 in this match. Like, they probably do, but their real goal is to beat Vancouver in the playoffs. Their real goal is to storm through everybody. I think if you, like, looked at their schedule, they played maybe one playoff team all stage. So it hasn't really exactly been, you know, the hardest road, so to speak. And I think the playoff team they'll play is Shanghai. Because I think they had one where they played Guangzhou twice. They played another team, I believe, twice during the stage. So they've had a little bit of an easier go, but they've crushed everybody. Maybe they've been trying to get all those 4-0s because they don't want to sit up there with Sinatra on the stage, just stinking it up. But looks like we got a lobby. Gray looks happy. He's jumping around on the Ana. Maybe we get some plays soon here. As we do have Toronto versus Paris to kick off the day.
Yeah, that's right. Back to this one now, and we'll have to see how this Paris team performs. I also, look, Matt, do me a favor, and let's keep an eye on Nico as well on that Diva policy, because obviously it's a tough matchup for him, I honestly think, and I think he struggled a bit against Hangzhou in Dallas, so I'll put that one out there. We're back in. It's going to be Turtle, Neko, and the rest of the Toronto Defiant. As we head now in towards Night Market, we have gameplay.
The good old Soon Junkrat here on Lee Jiang Tower.
Oh, that's vintage Soon, man.
Yep. Soon known for not known for this Junkrat play, but I know.
Listen, if
really,
you watch Apex, you know Soon play Junkrat.
Really spam-heavy composition. I'm just gonna ignore that. Real spam-heavy composition that comes in here for the Paris Eternal. So you get all these Junkrat grenades, right? Just breaking the shield. Just chunking people down, the Farah rockets as well. They're just trying to play the long game to try and break this.
Yeah, no shock to see the Defiant just try and play fairly conservatively here. That is absolutely them to a T. Eventually, Soon's going to get a Riptire. When he does, that will give him an opportunity to get an insta-pick, but Shadowburn gets one first. Ivy down, and losing Ozaya first in a fight like this, pretty suboptimal.
I mean, that's all it takes, right? Is a
few... the fire strike.
Oh, nice. A few Junkrat grenades, that'll get a D-mech there on the Envy. A few Junkrat grenades, a far rocket, you get a pick, and now, especially with the Diva God, I mean, nothing you can do here for this rocket barrage. This is the worst.
Yeah, that's filthy.
If you play Reinhardt at home, you feel for him there. I mean, there's nothing you can do in that situation.
Slow and steady for the Paris Eternal. On paper, it looks like they're playing what is quite an aggressive composition, but with all this poke damage they have available, all this long-range barrage they can set up pre-fight, they're just waiting. It's a matter of time before they find that first kill.
I like the switch here from Envy. He goes over to Sombra, so Sombra really good against Wrecking Ball when he goes in. Could try and get a hack off, and you have the EMP here from Nico. See if he decides to pop it. He's going to connect with a good amount of the players. Does not connect. Oh, they layer support ultimates. They use Transcendence and Sound Barrier at the same time.
That's crazy. And Toronto couldn't even get aggressive with 2 support ults in play because half the team was bio. They knew if they moved up, they wouldn't be able to heal themselves. The Sound Barrier only working for a short period of time. A huge failure in communication there for the Toronto Defiant.
You never want to do that. You never want to end up using both of the support ultimates at the same time. Some changes maybe here, though, for Toronto. Okay, so this is cool. We were talking about in the pregame where they said we haven't really seen a ton of like different looks from them. Now running a really damage dealer heavy composition. Neko on the Ana, Roki on Lucio, and then you're going to have 3 DPS. Soldier 76 from I'm37, and then you're going to have the Sombra still in play with a Tracer.
I'm37 able to stave off the early foray from Cloudy pretty comfortably now. Drop into the low ground. Cloudy, that's a hacked up Wrecking Ball. He's going to be able to get a little bit of adaptive shield on in and prevent him from being taken down by the Tracer of Ivy. Where's this Riptire going, huh? Ivy gets taken down. And that is definitely going to free up Nico a little bit more now. Shadowburn, rocket straight on in, and no one's really paying him any attention. I'm37 just wasn't in position actually to harass Shadowburn. He is playing out of line of sight.
I know nobody's dealt with Shadowburn all game. Right now, for the Paris Eternal, Shadowburn has 38% of the team damage. And to remind you, they were also playing with a Junkrat, right? So you can just see how much damage. I mean, Soon's got 22%. There's a lot of damage coming from the far. It'll be the EMP. Starts off this fight. Now you deal with Shadowburn once he's out of the sky.
Yeah, he had to take an emergency landing. The EMP preventing him from staying airborne, and Gray is knocked off. That will be the Toronto Defiant taking the point, but let's see what they got to work with for the next fight. It's not an overly compelling bevy of ultimates. Pulse Bomb and Minefield, Tactical Visor, maybe there's something there. The Eternal don't have a shield tank.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Paris, it's kind of like an interesting spot where, you know, they have ultimates on this, you know, damage dealer heavy comp. You have the Rocket Barrage, which you've gotten good value out of it. Do you just decide to break it with this? Do you decide to play something like a Winston 3-3, right? Dive on some of these targets? As Gray gets dove on really quickly there by Yak29 and Ivy, so nothing from him. That's all you're healing there for Toronto.
Yeah. Feels like Cloudy is the carrot being held in front of Ivy, and he's trying to chase down at least some sort of target. Nico maybe not the option. He'd hate to get hacked out here in the open. Remember, Sombra's hack gets interrupted if she takes any damage, so it is pretty easy to stop if she's trying to challenge you on an even playing field. 99% now for the Paris Eternal. They need to get rid of Ivy. That's a good start, but Up37's going to cause some problems here with the Tactical Visor, trying to make his way to the point, but Paris are kind of set up there. Minefield kill underwards. The enemy wrecking bullets. Cloudy going down, but Shadowburn set up well to receive in this choke. Barrage comes through, but I'm37 turns and gets the kill. Soon now on his vaunted Tracer pick. Knows I'm37 sat in the corner, and now the 76 is forced to play on the point. He gets taken down. Gray with the finish. Now Ivy soon trying to go for the 1v1. Ivy not really paying him much attention. He'll go and get a little bit of health. Roki trying to push. That Lucio is in deep trouble. There's no way he's getting out, but Ivy's found 2 in the meantime. Another one, Cruz is missing. Soon needs to step up to the plate now and deal with this threat. This round could be over. Nico comes in, gets rid of Neko. Bit of healing now taken away. Soon close to a pulse bomb, but that won't really help him in the head-to-head against Ivy. A health pack to force a recall from Ivy. A good start. EMP in the fight there doesn't really connect on too much. Nico hoping for more. Surely, Gray gets taken down by Yakung now. Roki once more gets beat up. Soon goes for the melee finish now, and the Paris Eternal end up coming out on top. There's still a pulse bomb here for Soon, but perhaps Yakung wasn't the target he was looking for. Now in overtime, Paris have taken control. Neko gets hacked up, can't fade away. And there it is.
Oh,
how's that to start off your Sunday Overwatch, huh?
Dude, Toronto, they had that, man. I mean, there was a really good chance. They come in, they hit a sound barrier, Roki and Ivy, get the effects of it. They're able to take out Gray, who's playing Ana, right, for the only really main heals that the Paris Eternal have on the point. And you know, after that, you have Cloudy come back in, Nico comes back in with an EMP of his own, and they're able to flip it.
Nico talking to our stage text like, why is Briggs selectable in the menu? Why is it available? I'm pretty sure he slipped something out back, said, look guys, just make sure I can't play Briggs.
So I think what you see there is like, you have like an option there for the Paris Eternal. Is when the point flips and both teams now are playing, you know, more of the damage dealer compositions, you can often play, like, especially on that point where you can get to the point and really kind of force them out of position, like if you rotate around. Like, you can play like a Ryan 3-3, you can play Winston 3-3 there, or you can kind of stay on what you have. They end up staying on what they have, and the fights are so spread out that they're never really able to make anything happen. It was a really, I know, the fight before the final one, you had Yakpung and Ivy have a really nice dive onto Gray in the back. You know, the Wrecking Ball with the Tracer getting up in his face, take out Gray, then you lose all the healing from range, then you have to back up. You're still kind of trying to play around the far a little bit, and you were never able, you kind of hold on to it because of the rocket barrage, and you're not able to make anything out of it. Where I think there, you probably have to consider switching to something like a Winston 3-3 or Ryan, get to the point, and then if you just hold that real estate, right, they have to kind of play from the outside looking in. They have to poke, but then they also want to contest, right? So they have to get on the point. They have to force a fight there, which you would favor the tank-heavy compositions in.
Let's have a look at what Toronto had to look forward to, Matt, after the All-Star break, because there was obviously a longer break between Stage 1 and 2, Stage 2 and 3.
Oh, they're going to get, 7-6. They're going to get booed there in Atlanta.
Virtually a back-to-back against the Eternal with a huge gap in between, because neither of these teams are playing playoff Overwatch in the interim. This seems like a stage there again where they can sort of position themselves, you know, at 4, maybe even 5 wins, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, you know, Paris, right? Well, we'll see how this game goes. You know, the Charge, they have been up and down all season long. The Outlaws, no, they did have no wins this stage. Where I think you look, I think, you know, that Atlanta match will be really interesting because Atlanta right above them in the overall season standings. You have to go to Atlanta and play them. I mean, that could be a huge match we look at towards the end of the year. But Shadowburn, man on your screen right now, playing the far in round 1. He's putting down so much damage for the Paris Eternal, but not able to take that first point.
Interestingly enough as well, he wasn't pocketed by Mercy really much at all in that round. Shadowburn was essentially out there doing it on his own. Now, obviously, there's a little bit more risk associated with not having the Mercy, just healing the fire, but also gives your team a bit more flexibility, which is what you want.
5 rocket barrage kills. Is that an all-time record?
In one map, well, if you think about it, right? 3 stages counts as one map, so he might be able to do something with that.
Usually you end up killing yourself during the rocket barrage. For the one I remember him using, where he got the D-Mech on the D.Va before, so usually, like, Far really immobile in the air, putting down tons of damage, but pretty easy target take out. You usually don't see that pick up a lot of kills.
Actually, the Farah play is starting to sort of make a lot more sense. If you remember watching Atlanta versus New York, you'll see that Hanzo Farah was able to unravel the Excelsior, especially the Farah. I saw a bunch. I've been watching the Australian Contenders Finals over the last couple of days. We've seen a ton of it in those matches.
5,
mostly from teams like Mavericks and Blake Esports, but we've seen a little bit of it here and there. Not on this map though, which is not a huge surprise, although we have seen people try and play Pharah here on Control Center.
And we've seen this setup from Paris in the past on this point. They will play 3-3, but they will play it with Wrecking Ball instead of a Reinhardt. So the Reinhardt composition comes in for the Toronto Defiant. Paris will have Cloudy on the Wrecking Ball. So I know Wrecking Ball obviously can just cause so much impact here in these close areas, right? Being able to roll in. But this is what the Reinhardt comp does. They move up.
Man.
They move up, and then eventually you're just pushed back into your own hallway here.
Yeah, this gets much harder for Nico, Matt, because in the absence of a Reinhardt, or God forbid even a Winston, now in this sort of Wrecking Ball composition, Nico almost functions like the frontliner himself, with Cloudy sort of off trying to, get things done in backlines and set up sort of a chance for the Eternal to push in.
But with Nico playing that far up, Ivy's able to just beam him down on Zarya, and Ivy's going to build this grab so fast that it's just going to chunk down Nico's mech. So that's kind of why you also like having the Reinhardt play, because you have to use some of that Zarya beam to break the Reinhardt shield. It'll be the minefield here with the pile driver. Transcendence will break up all those mines.
Yeah, easily enough. Zenyatta invulnerable during Transcendence, of course, just walk through the minefield.
And they use Rally as well there, Toronto. And then Cloudy now goes and switches. So they get out 2 support ults for a minefield, but you didn't want to play it anyway.
They're going to switch the hero.
Not a bad trade there for Paris.
Absolutely. Still a Graviton surge here for Ivy. Cloudy could be in trouble here. Shield low, boot forward, discorded down. There's no need for the grab now. It's going to be Paris to try and get one, just to punish the Defiant a little bit more on this point. But yeah, Struggle City. Cruz got shield bashed as he tried to boop Yakung into the rest of the Eternal. And it almost looked as if Iron 37 was ready to receive the Lucio.
Yeah, no, that'll be Toronto getting up to about 70% here. So, that's the second time so far this series we've seen Toronto layer their support ultimate, where that time they end, and the previous point we saw them do it as well. You really have nothing to work with here if you're Paris. You have Rally, but you're going to be rallying into grab, self-destruct. Toronto looking to really make this a dominant map 1.
Decent early damage traits here for the Toronto Defiant. There comes the grab, and it's pretty good timing late in the round. But the Paris Eternal strikes back with 2. Nico's bomb through the backside. He's just sitting off towards his right-hand side of the point now to dive in. Force the bubble out of Ivy. Back up. Continue to keep that shield elongated or alive longer for Cloudy, and the shatter is good. Paris Eternal will have had to be here, Matt. Now able to bring things back. Let's talk about the setup there from Nico.
Yeah, so the grab comes out from Ivy. He captures 2 players in it, but Nico's off to the side, and he throws the self-destruct past his teammates in the Graviton Surge. And there was a Transcendence that was used there from Neko, but not going to keep anybody up there as it connects with 2. That's a huge play. Now you have your own grab here if you're Paris. You can start to really start winning the ultimate economy game. Maybe just invest the grab here, get another shatter off of it. Get another self-destruct out of it. So you start really turning the tides in your favor.
Pressure on the Yakung shield here for Sumo. Cloudy gets taken down soon. He didn't even know what was going on. Cloudy got blown up in the blink of an eye, likely because of the Discord orb, but he had a barrier available to give to his main tank and soon realized what was going on.
It's not good for Paris.
Completely caught unaware, and there was no chance perhaps for Cloudy to call out that he was about to get absolutely domed. Shatter, not much there. Graviton Surge and Transcendence look much better from the Defiant, though Yakung will finish the job with 4. And the Toronto Defiant, a little bit shaky there at points, but we do know that their 3-3 is their bread and butter, and they make it look pretty good.
We had to say we needed to see better things from Yakpung in this map as, he comes up with the big shatter there towards the end. Really played well on the Reinhardt. Right now, 12 final blows. He played a lot of Wrecking Ball too. But 12 final blows to Cloudy's 1. Less deaths, more overall kill contributions in general. Really good map number 1 here from Yakpung.
Matt, you brought it up, before this match. We had much to talk about, of course, but the Yakpung Cloudy head-to-head. 2 tanks that have been a little bit maligned, or at least haven't really been in the spotlight, at least not for positive things, perhaps. This is definitely a series where either one of those guys had to step up, lead the charge, and see if he can sort of punish maybe the more reluctant tendencies of the other. So far, Yakpung, good job.
So far a mercy here for Toronto with a Widowmaker here. So really going at Shadowburn. I wonder if Paris decides to stay on this.
I mean, you can play out of line of sight quite easily as Shadowburn here, but I don't think he can get away now. On 37, they might have put himself in a bit of a sticky situation. He gets jumped on. Soon is staved off, though. Nice peel for 37 just to play around the DPS. And, oh, dear.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, guys, on the bright side, he never felt it. You know, he was asleep. Both Shadowman and Cruz being down now. 37 will just...
Paris has to switch.
Yeah.
See if they do, but... I mean, maybe they feel confident enough in their dive that they can get onto I'm37 and force some players back, but...
I feel like you're happy with the Pharah map if you control the point, but having to come back in from spawn with the Pharah against the Widowmaker seems kind of scary as a prospect.
Well, I mean, now Shadowburn's just kind of he's forced to play in like an off angle, right? So he can't really come around the side as Ivy takes out Gray here to kick things off. So Pharah of Toronto getting the better as Soon now has to leave the point. So you're really putting a lot of pressure on Cloudy and Soon to dive in the back line, and that if you're going to do that, then Shadowburn needs to pop up. Because you're creating all this space so Shadowburn can do something. Right now he actually gets hit with a Sleep Dart here from Neko, so yeah, he's not going to do anything with that. Where if you don't create that space, if you create the space and Shadowburn doesn't pop off, it's going to be a quick map in favor of Toronto.
Soon also doesn't have like a wealth of targets to go for, Matt. It's on 37, maybe Neko. But there's a lot on the Toronto Defiant that kind of makes his life a little bit hard. If he gets hacked, he's done. He's going to take a lot of easy damage from Ivy. I'm 37 can just do
like if you're
things.
If you're Paris, I mean, you can play like I mean, you can play like a Winston Diva Sombra composition, right? Like almost like a kind of old school dive. But it's going to be, I think, pretty hard to break this. I mean, they're playing for essentially one fight. I mean, almost everybody on Toronto is going to have ultimates. The same thing here for Paris.
Well, Matt, what can you play as Paris to deter Toronto from playing so far forward like this?
I mean,
how can you stop this?
Well, you can't. I mean, what you would like to do is just get the Pharah damage to push Toronto back, but you can't have the Pharah poke out because I'm 37 picking it up at Widowmaker, but he gets taken out. Cloudy will fall at the hands of the Nano Rocket Barrage there. So they use the res here on an Envy.
Oh, that's a nice little direct hit. Ivy playing very patiently.
Oh, nice shot.
One more air shot will get the job done. Shadowman trying to be kept up here by Cruz. With the Eternal running out of play, somehow they still managed to take the point back, but Gray was knocked off the edge and Nita Anna now more than ever. Ivy's found two, both supports. Envy does go down to Soon in all fairness, but just how much can this plucky Frenchman accomplish from this position? He's got a huge wrecking ball to deal with. Shadowman gets taken down by Ivy, who's been on a running riot of the last couple of minutes. Point now taken back by the Defiant. Soon has to challenge recalls at a very fortuitous moment, otherwise he'd have been taken down. Ivy thinks about it. Not trying to go fishing yet. You've still got a game to play before the stage break. But that looks like the job will be essentially done here by the Toronto Defiant. Shaky start to this map in general, Matt. But they look pretty good on this DPS sort of dominated comp, which is not maybe something we expected from them. They've adapted by the looks of things. Cruz wasn't going to last too long there. And yes, finally, the extermination is complete off the point. The Toronto Defiant take map 1. Back and forth, we saw all 3 rounds, we saw multiple different compositions, but Toronto, they carry the no-nonsense style into DPS comps. You'll love to see it. We'll be back with map 2 in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Staggering is an advanced play that you can make as a team. Generally in Overwatch, it's important to eliminate your opponent so that you can capture the objective or prevent them from capturing. But in certain cases, it's alright to allow an opponent to live because it prevents them from resetting and delays their next fight. They want to regroup, they just want to reset, but it can kind of bait a team and really can be a strategy that frustrates them.
The worst character to get staggered as is D.Va, because as soon as you're out of your mech, you have no defenses, no mobility options. You're just a very small hitbox that can be blocked around.
As a defender, it's really great because you get to wind the clock down and buy time, which is basically exactly what you're playing for.
We've seen it many, many times before, that kind of stagger technique, and it always produces some humorous moments, but no smiles really on the faces of the Toronto Defiant. It is a grim realization that they have maps and matches to win after a very disappointing stage 2. The man on your screen, Ivy, getting it done, switching over towards the Pharah a little bit more. He's got 14 final blows over this map.
Yeah, just obviously a difference in play time between these two players. But
Sizable.
you see, on the final point here on Jiang Tower, Ivy definitely stepped up on Pharah. So when we get to see him play, the damage dealers, we see really good things from Ivy. Zarya as well. It's been some Graviton Surge usage that I think's been up and down, but I think once you see this team start to play more with I'm37, look, if they can get a win here and go into the All-Star break, tied up, 7-7 for the overall, you feel pretty good about it, considering how bad it could have gotten for Toronto.
I don't know, man. It is tough. We talk about, players struggling a little bit on the Zarya or maybe, making a couple of gaffes here and there, but it is the one here that if you mess up, it is very obvious that you do that.
And it's also, I mean, Zarya is a off-tank, right? But you have a lot of damage dealers playing it in Overwatch League because you need the flexibility to switch over to other options. So it's not like the first hero they put a ton of time in. Danye comes in for Shadowburn. We see this all the time for their map number 2. But Zarya is a very interesting hero. It's a tank who's also a damage dealer where you need a damage dealer to play it. It's interesting. A lot of even off-tanks can't play Zarya. They pretty kind of just play the D.Va. So Danye comes in for Shadowburn here for map number 2. Interesting when we see them come in with Danye. Sometimes he plays Genji, which is kind of what Shadowburn's known for. So it's an odd switch for Paris.
Yeah, the Genji, sometimes the Widow. We've seen him play.
Yeah, true, Widow as well.
And that, well, I mean, we've known Soon to be the Widow player. We actually saw him play in Dallas. He had some incredible moments against Hangzhou on this very map, in fact. Just some of those freakish Widowmaker plays. Unfortunately, it ultimately wasn't enough to give Paris the W. But hey, Danye puffs his chest out and says, I'm the Bastion specialist around these here parts. That's why he's in, perhaps.
Yeah, so what you have coming out for Paris here on defense is that bunker composition, the Bastion, the Batiste. You can set up on that mid-bridge. You put Soon on the Widowmaker on the back high ground. Makes it really difficult to prioritize one of these targets. Do you want to jump on the Bastion? If you jump on the Bastion, they throw down the Immortality field. He lives through it. You're getting picked out the Widow at range. Let's see what Toronto decides to do on offense. I mean, you could run this triple tank. I mean, the Orisa offense on Temple of Anubis. We've seen it in the past. There's a reason we don't see it that much. Halt comes out here, but no, maybe you want the Orisa here. Okay, so you're gonna run.
Coco was the master of the Orisa offense.
So this is a lot of shield break though for Toronto. So you have Orisa, Hog. You also have a D.Va in play. D.Va's great in any situation, and then you have Pharah Hanzo. You don't really have range to challenge the Widowmaker, so this really tells me they want to shield pressure down, try and make a play for the Bastion on the bridge.
How long really would Yakpung's shield survive under this kind of scrutiny, though, Matt? It seems like, obviously, Orisa not having less than half shield health than Reinhardt, although being able to replace it pretty frequently.
I mean, you have some kind of like defense matrix to also help out, but I mean, you have that for Paris as well. It's not like one side does and the other side doesn't have it.
But look, it does prolong the lifespan of your shield. So sometimes you will see D.Vas use defense matrix even if they know that a player won't take damage if they don't do it. Now that's interesting from Nico.
He gets baited in trying to chase this Roadhog.
You have to know that Toronto are trying to do this. Their composition doesn't make any sense if the Roadhog isn't finding picks. Oh, he got away with that one. Fortunate. Danye is in a pretty... Oh, okay, this could be really nasty. Yeah, all right. So the amplification matrix fades away, but the damage is still forthcoming. Danye now in tank configuration, Matt.
So the positives about the Roadhog is that you can combo for those, halts with the hook and then get those like really quick insta-kills. The negative with the Roadhog, and probably the reason they're going to end up switching off of it in the end, is Roadhog is also feeding ult charge to the other team. Roadhog just a big ult-walking battery for the opponents at times if you're not able to get those picks, and especially for the easy shots hitting with the Widowmaker, Bastion putting down a ton of damage. So you see them swap off that. They're going to go Sombra, Genji, dive here.
Already having lost about half of their round time, the Toronto Defiant need to come up with an answer, and soon. Ivy, I don't think I've seen him play Genji in a long time.
And now as Paris, you don't even, Yagpeng lasted a quarter of the second there. You don't even feel bad for as Paris that you invested ultimates into the previous fight, because now Toronto has changed up their whole entire lineup. So you've reset the ultimate economy across the board pretty much. And you still hold on to some ults in the end.
Well, Matt, also,
so it's a great
Paris,
exchange for Paris.
Paris aren't going to really hold on to their ults much because they know when it gets to point B, they're going to be playing a different composition. Yeah. So they say to themselves, well, we could lose point A at any time, really. So there's no point holding these ultimates for a rainy day. Also, a lot of these ultimates aren't really part of multi-part setups here. Yakum tries to go win once more. This time doesn't get blown up immediately, but Ivy's gone down. So a part of the pincer that Toronto already tried to brandish in the Eternals direction already taken off the table.
You're diving onto the bridge, right? And the Immortality field comes out, right? I'm 37 gets an EMP here. We'll see if you get any good use out of it. EMP plus potentially Nano on the Akpung. But the issue is you use all your mobility to get to that middle bridge, and then soon just sitting all the way in the back, got a Mercy pocket there, just laying down the damage on the Widowmaker.
137. EMP connects here. He wasn't able to get Gray, but Gray was actually put to sleep after using the amplification matrix, and I don't really think it ended up where Gray wanted to put it. It was right in front of a wall, in fact. So now the Immortality field is down, and this is a good chance for Ivy. If he can get his Dragon Blade the next couple of moments, he can really start to punish a bit more. Envy's gone down. Ivy got himself an audience with the King. Soon he's down. The Reflect is there. And now dropping back to point. Ivy can just do loops here. Cruz, there's no way he was getting a resurrection. No way he was getting rid of Ivy with just the Caduceus Blaster, and now the cleanup will be a cursory affair for the Toronto Defiant. It took them 4 minutes, Matt, but they get point A.
Yeah, the EMP is good for Toronto, but what I really like is when they get the kill onto the Bastion, which Danye is playing, instead of pushing forward right away, they camp the body for a bit. Cruz actually flies over, and he wanted to go for a res. They go camp the body, they probably count down the respawn so they know he's not resable anymore, and then push on to the point. So no chance of because if they would have pushed the point, Cruz would have snuck behind, resurrected the Bastion, you would have had all that Bastion damage coming from the flank. You would have been in trouble if you're Toronto there, an open space on the point.
Was this the switch you expected, Matt, from the Eternals? Ivy trying to go for the Dragon Blade kills?
Oh, I mean, it's a nice play there. I mean, you're gonna play the Ana here for Paris on defense, Ana Mercy, and then you're gonna have a Tracer Sombra, which is interesting. Well, I mean,
Sombra is kind of old school, Matt. Back when she used to get a lot of her ultimate charge from people using her hacked health packs, she'd hack the one under the bridge approaching point B.
I mean, I don't think it'll last long. Ivy now plays Brigitte, so this will kind of have everybody switch over here for Paris, so you'll play the Winston 3-3.
Do you think the Sombra was specifically to shut down like a Genji in that case?
You hack the Genji, right? He loses mobility, not able to dash on through once the blade comes in. And then plus the Ana with the Biotic Grenade and the Sleep Dart gives you your best option with no ultimates used to be able to withstand it.
I had to ask Gray or someone later if that was intentional, just to counter what they thought would be, a Dragon Blade focus initiation. Soon on a McCree. This is a bit of fun. Self-destruct. Oh, I'm 37 caught out by the flash. He's trying to go for that EMP, and nicely shut down by him. Still getting rid of Cloudy, though, Design 37, and Nico's kind of alone on the point right now. A lot of space is being created by Yakpung as he works off towards the side. Sensational work here by Yakpung. Impossible for the Eternal to really get their ducks in a row, let alone contest the point. That is excellent.
Really
After
nice.
a very slow point A attack, the Toronto only take 2 pushes on B. Primal Rage looked really good there.
And you wonder, maybe Azaria should have been in play for the Paris Eternal on defense there. The McCree didn't really get much with it. You're just really worried about that Sombra. We'll see how Paris does on their offense after this.
Even though I'm 37's EMP gets cancelled by Soon in that fight. Yakpung's Primal Rage, Matt, makes it impossible for Paris to even contest, let alone stay alive while they're being knocked airborne constantly.
Yeah, it's, you know the McCree, you do connect with the flashbang there on I'm37, the play, taking out that Sombra, but you would have liked this state of like having having another large HP hero on the point. I mean, there is a big reason why a lot of teams play Zarya a ton. It's because she's so good. Coming up next, we got the Justice going up against the Uprising. That'll be a really good match. It'll be fun to watch Boston play again. And same with Washington. They've looked better as of late. So that'll be a really good match coming up right after this.
Make sure you join us on Twitch, XD, of course, and the ESPN app. It's all going to be happening there. I'm trying to think of an American pun for it, but I just don't have an extensive enough knowledge about American history. None of the Americans I've spoken to recently do either, so
I don't feel
that bad.
Definitely don't look at me to explain history. I don't know, none of that.
Out of the gates we go with the Paris Eternal. Danye on the far here. Shadowburn off to the sideline, looking on with utter jealousy.
So why you see Toronto come out with no damage dealers here on defense is because they want to run a comp that they can keep running into point B. What you ran into for Paris, right, is they had to change everything up on their defense to make it work once Toronto was able to take point A.
See that?
Toronto won't have that here. They'll be able to stay on this.
Danye doubling back. Yes, DPS players can peel. I'm looking at you, Hanzo main XX. You can peel for your supports. Keep an eye on them. Danye won't push forward right now anyway. He wants to try and make sure that Paris can get a staging ground here on top of this arch, but they're constantly being harassed. This damage on Yakpung is not negligible. If they continue to push him, they will have a huge advantage. Yakpung has to get away.
Oh, and they get a hack onto Envy here as well. So Envy stuck under the bridge. They're going to get all the damage down on him. As Cloudy and Nico have been lingering behind enemy lines for a while now. You're going to use the nano boost here on a Yakpung. As you've tried to play the choke here for Toronto, it's going to be a tick on the point there in favor of Paris.
This is what Soon wanted now. All the work that the Eternal put in to set him up here. And now he needs to sort of pay it back. Might be tough, Yakpung. The clip at the back of the ears, a Sunny Jim. What are you thinking? That's tough. The Eternal can't really secure any sort of staging ground pursuit here. He's going to go. Oh, that's nice, though. Good timing. Envy tried to get back in the mech. Danya managed to clip him just before the animation completed.
Yeah, no, Yakpung actually pops Primal Rage because he thinks Envy's going to get back in the mech and maybe get a fight off here, but not able to make it happen. Good offense for Paris. They have a ton of ultimates. Maybe they'll just switch Janye off of the Pharah. Okay, we're going to go Doom.
I totally saw that coming, of course.
But now Yakpung doesn't have Primal Rage. You completely got nothing with Primal Rage, which is great to stall out the point here in these situations.
You want to try and get it for point A if you can, but the composition that Paris had made it pretty hard for Yakpung to find a decent target. That is a Nano Fist! Danye jumps in now, Seismic Slayer to try and knock up. I'm 37 on the brick hitter, but needs to be careful. Hit with a bionic grenade, now he's going to have to back away. Yes, damage mitigation was there because of it. Oh, that's rough. If Doomfist, if his damage gets shielded, it means that he's not able to generate any overshield and become more durable himself. He has to get damage to be able to withstand it.
Yep, one push though there from the Paris Eternal, and now they'll go over and they'll play the traditional Reinhardt 3-3 here. They have a ton of time to work with. You have like 1 or 2 fights if you wanted to just kind of make jump pushes where you don't use anything, you don't have anything, right? Just try and get some ultimates out of Toronto and then swing the ultimate economy in their favor. So, see, they're going to go left side. Nice sleep there onto Danya. They wake him right up though as Neko getting close to a nano boost here. Let's see how many ultimates Toronto decides to invest here into this fight.
First off, he's going to try and get some charge. It's very easy to do with these particular compositions. And then Graviton, no nonsense, just what we've come to expect from the Toronto Defiant.
Yep, they just invest the grab there. Gray, nice little wave there to Ivy. He goes back to the spawn, but that grab allows you to build up towards an Earth Shatter, build up towards a rally. You also didn't invest whether it's a self-destruct or nano boost into it. So now you start to build up some ultimates here for Toronto. So Toronto's game here is to win fights using very little ultimates. The Paris Eternal want to get these fights over as soon as possible. Hope that Toronto overuses, which gives them the advantage.
The Paris just know they have to deal with it now. It's like they said something inappropriate on Twitter and they apologize and they're still getting hammered for it. That's the way it goes. They just have to allow the damage to wash over them here. Ideally, they wanted to try and force out some ultimates. Cruz might get away here, that's fine. The Defiant more than having to push forward.
Well, for Paris, you need to, like, obviously these pushes, like, you're not really, I mean, you want to win them, but you kind of know you're at a massive disadvantage. Cloudy's sleeping on the job here, but you have to try and, you know, get a pick or have something go your way to force them to use more than one ultimate. Right now, they're just running in, nano boost, everybody's dead, everybody saves everything else. I mean,
So
now look, Ivy's going to have another grab before Soon gets hit.
So you're saying the Eternal need to kind of trade ultimates. They need to
get a
make
pick.
a transaction of ultimates,
there needs to be some kind of transaction here. So maybe what you can do is you can use Rowlet here to enter if you're Paris, and then try and get an ultimate out. The bad part is you're going to have another grab here for the Toronto Defiant. So
Coming transactions, Matt. I don't think Scrim Bucks are going to be valid here. Shadow connects, and it's a big one. Danye, Soon, and Gray are all knocked down, but the follow-up and Gray isn't fast enough, and he's able to pick himself up and get the Transcendence.
that's the fight you needed, though. Look how many ultimates that Toronto ended up using here. You're going to have Sound Barrier to use. And
It's a classic. I've seen that time and time again. Soon. What a benefactor he is. What a magnanimous individual. Just donates away yet another grab to the Feed Envy Fund.
Just when it starts going their way, it doesn't. As Envy eats the Graviton Surge there from Soon. They got it, man. I mean, you saw a look at all those ultimates. Like, they got all the ultimates out. They had Sound Barrier when the grab came down. They had their own grab after. No support ults available. Oh,
This
man,
is
what a disaster.
It's just vintage, isn't it? Vintage Soon.
They get Yakpung low, and maybe they think they grab him there. They live through it with Sound Barrier. They had a self-destruct to use too. That's a tough one for Varus. I mean, those are the fights where you look at the clock now at like 2 minutes to go, and you pretty much know like you need a Hail Mary.
Self-destruct over the top, and the Defiant already pushed into the, into the crypt here on this side. The Paris Eternal, no chance of them raising any allies to help fight for them here.
But they can't push forward. They know that Yakpung's got an Earth Shatter here. I mean, they have no shields. They have to still kind of wait this.
Oh, Soon trying to lance the boil, but there's no real egress being allowed for the Paris Eternal here. Yakpung playing the corner, staying out of line of sight. All he has to do right now, let his shield take some of the damage, play this corner, swing, get shielded, then back up with your team. Here's another grab. Guess what? Ivy's didn't get him. Self's trying to follow it up here. Soon managed to get one himself. He's the Transcendence, though. Remake opportunity for Envy. He climbs back in, and now the Defiant again push the Eternal off the point. It's like they've so much has happened in the fight, but the Eternal are no more far, and they just shattered the shield, dude.
No, he gets knocked up into the air, he gets pushed back, and he gets behind the wall and not able to get anything with the Shatter as well.
That is the worst feeling as Reinhardt, because Earth Shatter does not trigger until your hammer physically touches the ground. If you are knocked up inside that animation, it's very, very easy to dodge it, because you hear the entire voice line, you can see where Ryan is, usually up in the air, and then he can hide away from him, or in that case, Cloudy just got knocked behind a wall and had no chance of hitting anyone with it. 45 seconds remain.
Yeah, I mean, Sound Barrier available for both teams. Danye will have a rally here, so no rally on the board for Toronto. So maybe what you do here if you're Paris is you open up with rally, try and get some pressure down, force Sound Barrier out early, right? And then you have a shot. It has to be like whether it's a good self-destruct that comes or the fight goes long enough. Soon needs to actually land a grab.
They have to wait now as well, a couple more seconds for Cloudy to beat.
Well, this will allow Neko to farm out Trance as well.
Repair pack just got used there, so in a pinch there won't be any burst healing now for the Paris Eternal. Sound Barrier, I guess, is effective burst healing. The Aquam got a little bit split away from the Eternal for a brief moment here. It looks like they're ready to go in. Cloudy is down. Matt looks like he went for an Earth Shatter once more, and it did not look very good. Graviton Surge catches Cruz in the corner, and they'll be happy with just that one now. Yakpung opts to step into the grab to try and shield some of his teammates, and Danye West looks like his mixtape didn't do too well on the rankings, and he's down. The Toronto Defiant well set up, and that'll be another map for the Canadians.
As that is a tough one for Paris. I mean, you could see it on their faces. I mean, they knew they had that one fight. They had flipped the ultimate economy in their favor, but still, you know, it's just another eaten grab there. Soon throws it into the defense matrix of Envy. So it'll be Toronto that takes a 2-0 lead.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
The Toronto Defiant are looking to end stage 2 on a high note, and so far so good. They're up 2-0 over the Eternal at the half. What's up, everybody? Malik here. We got Zoe. We got Bryn. Guys, I think the Paris Eternal might want some treatment for that itchiness because they've been affected by the Ivy. The Ivy's touching them. It's so good seeing him.
That was actually really funny.
Thank you. It's so good seeing him back on Zarya. I was a big fan of seeing him on Zarya, and now he's back on Zarya over IM37. What do you guys think of his gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, for everyone who kind of missed it, IM37 came in and he snatched that Zarya role away from him. And this is something we have been criticizing a little bit because, you know, Zarya, that requires a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And IM37 did not really have that experience. So it was odd to see him on that Zarya. But now we're seeing Ivy back on Zarya, which of course is changing the game again for them. They look a lot stronger when they're playing that 3-3, having Ivy back on that role. And the experience really is showing. And he has been outpacing Soon throughout the entirety, not of map 1, also on map 2.
It's a little bit shaky. I mean, this is his first, I think, good performance we've seen on the Zarya role in quite some time. But it's still a case of, you know, is it really a challenge, you know, the team that he's going up against? I hate to say it against Paris Eternal, but right now, Paris are struggling. They've always been given the talk that they can play these different compositions, right?
Yeah.
That they can play the triple tank, triple support, and they can play the damage-dealing compositions.
Yes.
But now we're seeing them playing these damage-dealing compositions where Shadowburn's on his signature role of the Pharah. We're starting to see Soon on the Widowmaker, but they're being matched here by Toronto, and Toronto seem to be just having the better game when it comes to it.
Right. It's been a very DPS-centric first 2 maps, definitely. And it's been cool seeing everybody back on their old roles. You pointed out seeing Shadowburn back on Pharah. We had some Soon playing Tracer. That was a blast from the past. How'd you guys feel about that second map? Anything stand out to you?
I mean, we saw 2 different approaches there. Toronto definitely played it safe by coming in with the 3-3 when they were on defense. They knew that they can roll onto point B, staying on that composition. They're not going to lose any of their ult charge. And that was definitely the safer play. And in their case, definitely the better play there too. Paris Eternal, granted, they really slipped here. There were a lot of individual and team mistakes they made, not just stepping off the point for no reason whatsoever, even though they just had an amazing play by Soon, who denied the EMP there from IM37. So overall, I think it was rather scrappy from the side of Paris Eternal, unfortunately.
Definitely a scrappy game. I completely agree with that. And Toronto, I mean, it's a team that I want so much to support them, right? I want to support this squad coming in, right? But they just seem to, and this is something that me and Monty were talking about, they don't seem to have an identity coming into this. You think of a lot of teams, they focus around a specific player in general. Toronto just seem to just play this standard game style. And despite being 2-0 up, it seems like the game just kind of was over in a flash, and it was a win off the back of mainly Paris's mistakes as opposed to good plays from Toronto. So, I mean, this is just me ranting at this point, you know?
I hear you.
I mean, it's just...
But no, you make a good point, because it seemed like they had an identity, but then IM37 came in, and then it got confused again.
But I think they can have an identity, right? Because they've got IM37, and, like, this guy is a rookie. He's come up in the Overwatch League in record time. He's come up from just playing the game normally, and in the span of a month, he's come into the Overwatch League, the big stage. All these lights on him, the spotlight as well. So they do have an identity. They've got this star player that they can build around. They tried it, didn't quite work out, but they've still got time. You know, they do have time to get there eventually. I do have a little bit of hope, but I'm just saying, you know, Toronto, it's a team. It's a team. What more can you say?
But they're not exciting to watch. They get the job done.
I feel like
they're not
we're just ruining them now. They're 2-0 at the half.
But they're doing great.
Well, actually, they're up 2-0, and they're 1 map away from getting back to 500, going 7-7, pretty much ending the half point of the season even. So, what do the Paris Eternal do to mitigate that from happening here in the second half?
Just clean it up. There's so many mistakes which shouldn't happen. I mean, Toronto, not without a fault here. They made some pretty crucial mistakes also. Map 1, like just, layering all 3 support ults, because why don't you? But Paris on map 2, they looked rather scrappy. They made... they just have to clean it up. That's really all there is.
Well, I mean, they've looked stronger on the damage-dealing compositions, okay, in general. But the issue comes down to, I think, when they switch over to the triple tank, triple support, again, they seem a little bit lost. They try and run these damage-dealing compositions in situations that aren't quite ideal. It's a tricky scenario for Paris because, again, it's another team that I want desperately to succeed. And they've got the pieces there. You know they've got the talent there. Something's not quite clicking in the game at the moment. And it's a case of working out a lot of these issues that... they're not quite so obvious right now, but it comes down to, it's lots of little things. That's the trouble with this meta right now with triple tank, triple support. You can't pin it on an individual player. It is a team effort normally, and it's the coordination. It's different little things that add up over the course of a game that cause you to lose a series.
Indeed. Well, they have a couple of kinks to iron out, and we'll see if they can do that. Right now it's Toronto 2-0, but will Paris get back into the game? We'll find out in just a bit. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
The Paris Eternal, man, the last thing they want to be doing is limping to the end of stage 2, right? This is where you want to start to think about, you know, the future and start to build up a little bit more solidity.
I
They
mean,
look
it's
good
just
so
like
far.
Everybody wants to go into the long break with, you know, some positive momentum, heading in the right direction.
Also,
like Atlanta, right?
It's good to win games in the Overwatch League. It's like a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, Toronto, look, I mean, they were to win this series, they get to 7-7. It looks, you know, they're feeling a little bit better after a rough stage.
500 halfway through the year, completely reset. Yes.
Atlanta, you know, they win 2 games against New York in their stage, 7-7.
And like no one else.
Yeah, Shadowbird comes in here for Danye. If you're the Paris Eternal and you drop this series, your final 2 losses of the stage are a 3-2 to the Spark, and then a loss here to Toronto. 2 matches you definitely thought are winnable, which hurts you in the overall season standings, right? Puts you even further behind Toronto. And also were 2 matches that could have been a decider for you to make the stage 2 playoffs. It's a real tough pill to swallow for Paris going into the break.
Look, and 2 matches that could decide things like tiebreakers when we get to play-ins towards the end of the season. I mean, look, you're saying it. Paris Eternal have shown us 2 different looks over 2 different stages, and neither have looked stellar. 5 wins. 5 wins.
Odd that the Paris Eternal will be 0-3 on this map. As I know, all we talked about with Paris coming into the Overwatch League this year is how they were a strong 3-3 team, right? They were able to play. Kings Row is the map for that. Like, I mean, Kings Row, I mean, it's so, I mean, I love to play, you know, Zarya on Kings Row. I mean, you just started going to town, right? It's like, it is a really good map for Zarya and Reinhardt.
The hard part is that the other guy is also playing Zarya, and that's what that matchup has kind of been definitive of this particular series so far.
So Yakpung play some wrecking ball here, kick things off. See if they stay on this. So you'll have Neko here play the Widowmaker as quad DPS.
That kind of damage is non-negligible. Look at Nico. He has to get repair packed and he's still low. The Defiant just keep leading into this now. You want to keep applying pressure. They can't heal up Nico very fast at all. Gray also having lost most of his shield here.
It forces them into this back corner, which is where you do not want to be if you're Paris.
No, they have to take shelter already. This composition wants to be fighting in chokes, but they've sort of given a lot of ground up now. And the damage from Ivy is so real. Pile driver knocks like 4 people up. Neko completely unhindered currently.
I mean, Ivy's 40% of their damage right now. You know, well, there he falls in the hands of Soon. Maybe you can get a res off here, but seems like Paris now wants to try and fight out of this. Soon able to pick up 2. That's huge. As no, you had to have Yakun back all the way out. You only have 1 support here with Roki playing Mercy, so not able to get the healing. Had to make a run towards the health packs.
In 1 second, the Toronto Defiant looked from potentially being dominant in this fight to getting absolutely wrecked. The pulse bomb from UM37 didn't look good, but again, he had to be kind of careful about how he placed it down because he was trying to get it on a bridge.
How did they let Neko leave this? They had Soon and Nico there. Neko able to make it around the corner, but I know maybe with IM37 dead, you lose a little bit of burst damage. You don't use the EMP right away. Maybe wait for him to come back, but looks like they're going to go with the EMP plus Barrage instead.
Layered support ultimates. Why is this still happening, Paris? Both the Sound Barrier and the Transcendence get used at the same time. I know the Eternal able to hold them off in this fight. Ivy, well, he was down anyway, let's be honest. He gets rezzed. Soon gets taken down by Neko. And things are starting to fall apart. Communication, so important, Matt.
And they can't back out to the other side of the hotel because the minefield laid by Yuck put in a great positioning back towards that corner. So they have to walk out onto the point. So this will be the Toronto Defiant able to take the point here, unlock the payload. Good time. I think now you probably switch off of this as we go into the streets phase.
This is a veteran support line from the Paris Eternal. They have been around for ages, and they have played together for quite some time now as a roster. This should not be happening.
I think though with
layering support ultimates,
it could come down to like communication when the EMP comes down. As this will be a grab that's used by Soon. So you do get a hold here for Paris. I think it's got to be something when the EMP comes out. Maybe they don't communicate fast enough of who was hit, who was not. And I think in that situation, both supports are probably like, well, I was not hit, so they had to hit the other one, right? Usually you try and hit one support with it. He hasn't actually hit either of them. And they both end up using it because they don't expect the other one not to have it. It's just an unfortunate sequence of events that goes down. But still, I think you need to have that little bit more rock-solid communication.
Envy detected by Cruz, but not revealed. So behind Cloudy, look at that. Didn't have the EMP, didn't have to do nothing special, Matt. He has that online now, and that's not good for the Paris Eternal heading into the next fight. And I wonder if they realize that Envy has EMP here. They probably, if they're trying to track his ults, they probably think next fight is more likely. So I want to see how they play around this.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have to have an idea. He's got the EMP. I mean, you get that pick as well. As soon as you lose your main tank, I mean, you're not winning this fight in this part of the map.
Do you see this often in games where like teams have made it clear that they can tell that a player has an ultimate in 2 consecutive fights?
Yeah, I mean, we see it sometimes when like a team doesn't use a grab. Like you can tell like by like Azaria's movement, right? Or you can tell like how this team's like, look at how they're set up around the corner here at Toronto. Like they're just waiting and waiting to go. Like you do like have the Reinhardt not like use all of his shield here, but with the way they're playing, just a little bit passive around the corner.
Cloudy tried to shatter and got EMP'd halfway through the animation. Gray still able to get the Transcendence. This time, the support ultimates aren't layered. Slight overlap here, but it has to be done because the Graviton Surge needed some backup behind it, and it looked very good this time for Paris. Cloudy, yes, he'll be upset he lost his ult, but he pretty much generated another shatter in 1 fight. Can the Eternal stabilize here outside of the Foundry?
Yeah, now do you see Envy switch off of this and go over towards, let's say, Diva, where we see him play all the time? Actually, no, you probably stay on this. They probably don't have an idea. If you just use the EMP, it's kind of hard to gauge how much work the Sombra has done.
Well, also,
to be up to 70% already.
Mate, you love to play from that walkway above the Carter Sombra, right? Getting those hacks are much easier to get. Interesting though that Soon and Nico both playing for the high ground. Soon wants to be a high ground Zaya in this role. 3-man shadow though.
Nice
Cloudy.
barrier.
And and the timing was good. Responsive sound barrier from the Toronto Defiant. Envy, translocator over the top. I think so. EMP comes out, connects with 4 again. Gray gets the transcendence. Excellent response once more. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, and you can't fault Gray for that one. He gets Neko on the backside. As far as exit kills go, that's not too bad to get your opposite number, but it's not enough to stop the Defiant.
And that's what's so impressive when we watch somebody like Twilight from the Vancouver Titans, is he can play close to the area where the EMP is going to come down and get the Transcendence off, because that actually keeps the team alive. A lot of other teams, you have to kind of hide the Zen in a
make it really
area,
obvious
right?
that you're trying to hide away.
Yeah, and they're not able to get there in time to be able to get the Transcendence off and keep people alive. That time, Gray gets the Transcendence. He does a nice job hiding, not getting hit by it, but they lose 2 players before it even happens.
Oh, Cloudy dangerous here. Graviton Surge comes out. Good response from Soon. The timing there looked good. Yakpung's down. Ivy almost knocked off the edge. Cloudy almost up at the same fate. He's backing away now with a barrier on him, and the Graviton Surge has no one to shield it. Cloudy was knocked out of position, and Soon is taken out as a result. Now Ivy is going to be wielding some of the most damage here on the battlefield, and look, he knows it too.
Yeah, and you just kite this rally that comes in from Paris, as you see just chunking down.
Put him in the microwave, he's done.
And now you come back with an EMP shatter. You're in a good spot here to close the map out of your Toronto.
Oh, that's going to be frustrating for Cloudy, man. Not only does he get a stun, but he gets knocked back, so he really can't get value out of the Nano Hammer. But I'm37, he's taken down. Nico is able to get back in his mech. He actually got that kill as Mini Diva, by the way. Love to see it. EMP comes out. Cloudy Shadowbird, both knocked to the ground. Roki finds himself with 2 crews now. He's going to have to back away here. Sound barrier, good timing for the Defiant. They know that. They can play recklessly, and they need to get these last few kills. Good work by Soon. And there needs to be a little bit more than that. Pushed so far forward, he can't give barriers to his teammates. He'd have to turn around to do so. Yakpung trying to camp spawn right now, but the rest of his team need to clear the payload. Nico down. Cloudy trying to shield up. Shield bash dealt with now. Shadowbird's the last one there. The Eternal eventually have to accept the aggression of the Toronto Defiant as they finish King's Row with about a minute left.
Yeah, Paris put in a tough situation there. The Graviton Surge comes out. Cruz needs to use Sound Barrier to keep them alive, but Envy still has that EMP, takes away the effects of the barrier, and everybody drops inside the Grav. No real great option for Paris there on defense. Let's see their offense after this.
That's an interesting take on the social media at halftime. I expect a 3-page essay on how and why Toronto are doing better than New York on my desk by tomorrow, because I ain't seen it, fam.
Yeah, I don't believe that. We do got the All-Star game coming in, 5/16, powered by Intel. That'll be a fun time. A lot of good events going down around the All-Star game, All-Star week in general. It was really fun last year. I'm sure this year will be a blast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Talent Takedown's going to be a little bit different this time. You'll see what that's going to be like. It'll be fun though. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I've won a map.
Ooh, the mysterious tease for the people at home. Mysterious tease. I won't let you guys know. You guys will have to tune in to find out.
I am going to feed.
Yep. Yeah, we already knew that. That's not the surprise. We got the Paris Eternal on offense here. Gonna play triple DPS with Cruz on the Mercy here to kind of pocket Shadowburn in the sky. Cloudy sleeping on the point here as Wrecking Ball. But so you come out here with the Toronto Defiant on defense playing Sombra with the Ryan Zarya. You would have liked, I mean, with the more damage dealer heavy comps, like you would really like to have like a Winston on D. Roki there able to pick up soon, so eliminate the 76 from the high ground. But no, now that Neko falls, there's a lot of the healing provided there for Toronto.
Bear in mind, Toronto aren't too upset if they sort of lose this fight. They want to try and generate some ult, because Paris will have to switch up their team composition in the next phase,
that's true.
And they'll be ahead in ult economy. Okay, Gray playing very close to the point. Oh dear, he needs to get back. Okay, he does. Cloudy's able to create enough space for Gray to get to the back line here. Shadowburn is getting close to a barrage, and with Toronto Defiant's team composition requiring that they play close together, that could be a big opportunity. Cloudy just gets nuked though. Not great.
I mean, he gets hacked up, not able to roll away, and then everybody recognizes it, puts the damage down.
Great to see some Soldier 76 action, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, Soldier's kind of like the classic, right? I think everybody when they first started playing Overwatch, like Soldier's the first real like damage dealer you kind of pick up, you're able to wield at a high level.
He's the hero for those people that actually think Overwatch is a shooter. Lol. Attack visor for soon. EMP might be a good follow-up here. A lot of damage on Ivy in the backside. Yakpung can't kill this shield up. Yakpung gets taken down. Ivy now approaches the point. Graviton Surge is going to catch soon, but that's already about it. Ivy needs to try and stay alive here. Roki attempt to keep him healed up, and this is looking pretty good. Ivy gets 2 now. Shadowburn shuts it down. Barrage delivered. Neko puts him to sleep though on the point, but the Eternal have taken point A.
Yeah, and they ended up using the nano boost there on Ivy. Try and keep him alive through that, as you may lose Envy here. No, Envy translocates out. You lose Roki towards the end. He'll be able to speed boost back in, but you know that changes have to come through here for Paris if you're Toronto. So you do kind of reset in terms of Zarya ultimate. Like you do end up use the grab, try and turn it there towards the end. You know that they have to switch off of a lot of these heroes. So we'll have Nico here with the EMP right behind Envy here.
You're on the wrong side of town, fam. Nice little gang up there.
Auto grenade here.
Oh my gosh, I'm 37 though. Otherwise, Cloudy and Soon went down. Okay, fair enough. Here's the issue, right? With Nico and Cruz playing that high ground, trying to, 2v1 on towards Envy, the Eternal didn't really have any way of giving themselves a speed boost. Maybe the Defiant identified that, they charged forward, they overwhelmed them.
And it's Neko making a big play. He actually sleeps Cloudy on the low ground and then lands a biotic grenade, which connects with like 3 players, and then they just push right on through. They get no benefits to any of the healing, so.
Go. Yes, EMP comes out. Nice connection, 5 people. This fight should be pretty straightforward now for the Eternal. Neko hacked. Nico is going to head back to his translocator here. Nicely done. Not always easy to get big EMPs in this part of the map because there are so many ways to duck down side alleys to avoid being caught inside the field.
And now Envy still playing this Sombra. Like, you're going to see him just rock up here on the payload. So you have the switch that comes in from Nico. He'll go over to D.Va. So you have the traditional Reinhardt 3-3 now for the Paris Eternal. Toronto going to play with the Sombra. So Envy is going to get very close here to an EMP. And now you have some players for Paris hiding here. They know that this EMP is going to come down eventually.
Buddy. And Yakpung trading a bit of damage here. Currently, Soon is hacked. So that could have been an opportunity for Yakpung to like pressure Cloudy in the absence of Zarya bubbles, but he doesn't go for it.
EMP.
Shadow! Nice combo. Shadowman Soon, Cloudy all knocked to the ground. Cruz got hacked as well. God, it looks good when you get a solid EMP shadow like that. However, I'm 37, maybe overextending a little bit here. Ivy, oh no, he's down. He couldn't get up, couldn't shield. None of that stuff was available to him. And Yakpung now probably just has to back away inside the Foundry. I don't think there's a whole lot to be done, especially not after that boop. Cruz just lines him up.
Yeah, now Envy actually did a nice job there. He kept getting hacks over and over again on Soon. Couldn't bubble teammates, couldn't grab, but still, it's not good enough. As you do see the Paris Eternal take point B, so 1 checkpoint away from completing the map. Good amount of time to get around this corner. So Neko goes away from Ana here, plays in Yata for some extra damage here towards the end. So Gray doing a nice job on the Ana, landing those grenades. He's going to stay on it as the bash comes through as soon as grab comes through as well.
Sand barrier there for the Eternal, but they don't really get overly aggressive with it. Both teams having that extra durability now. And this time, 37, the dice roll pays off for the Defiant. With Soon and Cloudy down, the fight is over.
Yeah, I think when Soon uses the grab, he didn't actually want to get like kind of bashed into the corner as it puts it on that corner pole
on the inside,
because it's
right?
hard to get the follow-up all the way through. I mean, you have to just you have to go trap yourself in there. Reinhardt pins, lots of overall Zarya damage, Brigitte damage going down. So he probably wanted to get it around the corner in a little bit more open space. So Yakpung goes charging in one.
That gets used against him. Yakpung, I mean, that charge makes absolutely no sense.
Where's he going?
Cloudy says, thank you for the free shadow. I'll have 3 bags full. Ivy, what?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God. That was egregious.
That was aggressive there from Yakpung. Maybe thought they were going to follow it up with Transcendence. Maybe they thought they were going to grab earlier.
That still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, most Reinhardt players will tell you only charge if it's short and it guarantees you a kill.
Even if you had let's say the other Reinhardt slept there and still, I mean, a really low conversion rate of kills. That'll be Ivy dying to the self-destruct. I'm 37 picking up 2 on the Brigitte.
Don't worry, Matt. Brig to the rescue. Swing the base.
Come on.
Hey, Cruz.
Going for the evil towel there, the back cap. Not gonna work.
Oh. Well, yeah. So, I don't really know what happened there, to be honest. I would admit it's possible that that was accidental from Yakpung. The charge maybe wasn't intentional because charging down range at such length, I think we should.
He's had a good series too. I think Yakpung's definitely had a pretty good series here today. That one a little questionable.
All right,
so.
I'm 37 wants to set up an Earth Shatter here for Yakpung. Cloudy knows he's there. Can he get the bash? No. Cloudy takes a bit of damage though. I'm 37 still alive, so it's all fine. Yakpung's the one that gets shattered though. All right, Salmo are going to have to come out here from the Toronto Defiant. They need to get the job done without their main tank for the time being. Yakpung will return with an Earth Shatter, but the setup just won't be there. The infrastructure won't be erected for him to get that one off. Look at 37, by the way, just busting it in that back corner, knocked Niku off the edge. Ivy, yes, he's charged off, but Cloudy goes with him. That's not worth.
I mean, they've lost their main tank 2 or 3 fights in a row now, but the rest of Toronto has stepped up so much. I'm 37 on the Brigitte, Ivy, Roki as well, picking up kills. They don't have that main tank. They're trying to set up Yakpung for these plays, for these shatters. It's just not working out. All you have now is Transcendence here for Paris as they've steamrolled the payload to this point, but they've been stonewalled here.
Cloudy on the corner now. It's got to be here. It's got to happen. But 37 comes straight on him with a run. Cloudy gets disintegrated immediately. Cruz knocked to the ground, then sidewards as Roki's able to get rid of Shadowbird. Gray in the distance, just sending one orb after another, unfortunately. Not very effective at all. And the Paris Eternal looks so good coming into the Foundry, but individual errors, even with Yakpung charging headlong at them, a suicidal charge. They're still not able to take the map away, and so the series will fall to the Defiant. And I'll be honest with you, the Eternal will not be happy or satisfied or pleased with that result. I don't blame them either. They got one more map to save some face. We'll see how that one goes after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Toronto Defiant, after a very up and down stage, look honestly really good today. I'm 37 sort of back on the Brig. Ivy's back on the Zarya. Ivy sort of claimed last week that being in quote unquote Brig prison made his Zarya quite rusty, or at least his grabs, but he's looking pretty good on that role today.
Yeah, and I mean, Toronto, they get back to 7-7 overall with the win here today. So going into the All-Star break, you know, they have a realistic chance. Look, I mean, they can look back at what they did in stage 1. Like, hey, we do that 1 or 2, for the final 2 stages over the course. Even, 4 and 3 gives yourself a chance to get into that 7th through 12th range.
I mean, hey, the Boston Uprising in season 1 went from great stage to awful stage to great stage, well, to kind of not so great stage at the end there. So, and they still, they were in with a chance for those season playoffs. And I mean, hey, going through what has been a bit of a meta mix-up, sort of dominant teams in stage 2 would be 7-7, halfway through the season. You're okay with that?
If you would have told Toronto at the beginning of the year that they would have a 5-2 stage, but still finish 7-7 at the halfway mark overall, they'd probably be thrilled with that, to be honest. So we'll see the Defiant here on offense to kick things off.
It's going to be the cheeky try and attempt at catching here.
Yeah, they tried to use the May wall to kind of lock somebody on the other side. Maybe.
Also the Orisa for hold.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I could go for some pulled pork. Are they going to switch off that comp?
So they play Winston on offense here. Nope. Never mind. We're going to go back. We're going to play probably Reinhardt now. So once we get down into the choke, are we going to have nope, not everybody. So they see that they're playing around the corner. They want to play inside of the tunnel here instead of playing for the high ground and kind of create a trap. But what they're going to do is they're going to send Envy over the top, not playing D.Va, playing Sombra now. So he'll be able to just kind of poke and pester from behind, right? Prevent the D.Va from coming back.
That's worthwhile. Everything, like, he hasn't done anything overly significant on the outside there, but he forces the head turn of Nico. Gets some damage down. Now there's a hack on
yeah,
this is great.
So what's also good about those hacks and also forcing the D.Va back is you don't have the defense matrix to eat up the grenades that Echo is throwing down, whether they're, anti-heals or heals. But yeah, they push a little bit further down into the tunnel. They're not going to win the fight here against Paris. So Shadowburn doing some work on the break. It'll pick up a rally here early.
Man, if you're playing this sort of Sombra variation on 3-3, getting rid of a tank, are you kind of expecting to maybe lose that first fight, or like are you really trying to work towards an EMP as your main win condition?
I think you can win the first fight without EMP. I mean, you can build up the EMP rather quickly because you can control the high ground, right?
Is it harder to win that first fight with a Sombra as opposed to D.Va?
A little bit, yes. As now though the EMP comes down, you get another re-hack here on the Nico, so he can't use the self-destruct. Come on out. I mean, that is an easy fight to win there for the Toronto Defiant. But I think you can definitely win it without, especially when you have the Ana in play, because you're obviously out healing them in terms of raw healing output with the Brig, the Ana, and the Lucio. But you also have the ability to constantly hack the D.Va. You hack the Reinhardt, right? Get the stuff.
Like all of your biggest playmaking happens outside of ultimates, right?
Well, and they're also forced to look both ways in the tunnel. So you do have an opportunity to get some hacks off that you would really not be able to do in a lot of other positions.
Soon, zero charge. You hate to see it. Gonna go for the grab anyway, though. It's gonna be the self-destruct thrown in the middle by Nico. That one was good. That one was just pressed through the front of Yakpung's shield by the looks of things. So no matter which way he turned his shield, his teammates probably would have got blown up.
Yeah, they use Nano Boost and Sound Barrier there as well. So both of these teams today we see just kind of layer in. I mean, Nano Boost only goes on to one player, right? They put it on to Yakpung, trying to keep him alive, even through all that. But
I mean, the Defiant are extra susceptible to Graviton Surge fights because they don't have D.Va to sort of eat that up, which has happened already in this series, and they don't have a Transcendence. They don't have a Zenyatta to sort of mitigate the damage and keep them alive.
I like this setup here for Toronto, coming on the high ground. Envy's just searching for Cruz here. You know they have Sound Barrier, as Cruz is trying to hide and wait this one out. But he can only hide for so long. So now he has to use it, but uses it a second too late because they're not able to keep Cloudy up.
What Sound Barrier?
Now it's all removed.
That is rough. Not only did the Eternal lose all that extra protection that Cruz's barrier would have offered them, but also their abilities.
They try and use it the final seconds to keep Cloudy up, but he falls right as... But it's a nice play from Toronto. They don't use the EMP right away to initiate. They just get really aggressive on a Cloudy, and they know they have to try and save him with something. The point is so close. Rare,
hey,
Zarya,
they just want to talk soon.
Here.
Envy just want to talk.
Yep.
Just want to talk. I just saw Soon's face, by the way.
Our universal sign of talking here. As,
no, Soon is not pleased with what just happened.
No. It is. Well,
I'm not going to repeat what I read on his lip.
You know, we're talking during the break, and I think for Paris, it's like these games are brutal because like you go back and you watch the tape, and you're like one play away from winning on each round. Like you're one moment, one team fight away, and a lot of it is like mistakes that you're just making, just little mistakes, especially the last two series. They use the nano here on a Cloudy to keep him up. After he gets hacked, that'll be a nice grab there from Ivy.
Well, that was huge. The hack prevents Cloudy from shattering as well. He would have wanted to go for that there, especially when the grab was thrown at Paris. We often see the Earth Shatter as a counter or a response to your team getting grabbed. It stops the follow-up, but he was hacked. Envy picked just the right target to make it so the Eternal had no chance of fighting back there.
I mean, Envy right now, 17 lives. No, one final blow, but like Sombra's not really going to get a ton of final blows. It's a funny moment. Is that 0 deaths though? I mean, that's huge. 9 enemies EMP'd, 17 hacks, so doing a nice job. They're re-hacking enemies time and time again. That'll be a big pick-off from Gray on an Echo. A little bit of a Nana duel here. So you have the grab used there from Paris, and you don't have this grab, and they had no reason to invest sound barrier.
Is that worthwhile, grabbing that fight? Can't you just speed boost your team in knowing that they have far less healing?
Yes, I think at this point for Paris, though, you need to really solidify these fights. We've seen a lot where they've gotten the first pick and then end up losing them in crazy fashion. So,
I mean, what's the point in saving him when you're going to get EMP'd and be unable to use them anyway?
You probably feel pressured at this point to invest, which you really don't have to.
This is cheeky. Envy's showing himself now. His translocator is, you see, he's just thrown it out there now. Cloudy, he gets the shatter at least. Neko did get knocked down, but he wasn't able to really chase that one up. He didn't want to charge in that situation. So many translocators were thrown there by EMP. Seeing if he could bait something. Remember, you can like cancel your translocator positioning now. Grab is going to be very hard to stave off here. A lot of damage. If you can't heal through that very quickly, so the Defiant want to just lean into this, keep pressing their advantage right now. Oh, Soon sleeps the job. Interesting there. Well, Yakup's still going to go for it now. Despite being nano boosted, the sound barrier is going to make it hard for him to get the killing damage required. Shadow, oh, that one was denied. Nicely done there. That was very good from Shadowbird to shield bash. Yakup's, he tried to bring the hammer down.
Yeah, it was a nice sound barrier there from Cruz to help keep Soon alive. This fight's still going on. Toronto wants to fight it. Some ultimates here used by Paris. So they end up using a self-destruct here towards the end. So don't really have anything but EMP to work with here for Toronto, but it's been so massive, the EMPs.
Thumbs up for me. I mean, in my opinion,
that's a great play for Paris, right?
Yeah, Paris's neutral play there was really good. They have a grab now as well. Probably want to use it before they get EMP'd. Now it's tricky, you know, as the Sombra play because you have to get the Zenyatta. I'll get to that point anyway. So notice what Envy's doing, right? He can cancel the translocator and just keep throwing it, and it's really low cooldown if he cancels it. You just keep doing this over and over again. But when no one pays him any attention, the impact is kind of reduced.
And if that grab would have came down at a little bit more long range, I think he would have probably decided to use EMP there because then you could have prevented any type of follow-up as they knew exactly where his translocator was. Clever. Nice play there, just trying to force him out. Now you have EMP Nano Boost and Graviton Surge here for Toronto, though. So really big ultimates, just rally here. Cloudy, you would think, you know, the answer here is a counter shatter, but that's probably going to be taken out of the question when the EMP comes down. Or if you're Toronto here, you even discussed not using EMP. They're going to use it to initiate, but you could have actually saved that and just hacked Cloudy and then grabbed or pushed in, right? I mean, you knew that they were going to play around potentially a counter shatter.
Yeah, I wonder what I think they do that if they don't think that Paris has any other ultimates, which would have been the correct assumption, but I think the ult tracking at this point starts to break down a little bit, right? Multiple fights. I completely am okay with this. Shadow battle the Bastion. Shadow, that was actually a pretty good shadow, to be honest, but it doesn't matter. The Toronto Defiant finished the map.
The grab at the door as well. I think only Nico decided to come out from the other side, so you had everybody from the Paris Eternal coming out of that left spawn door. Nico and the D.Va not able to make it back from that right spawn door to contest the cart there at the end. They finished with 5.7 seconds. Quite nice. Don't have to go all the way down into overtime there. So we'll see what Paris decides to do on their offensive attack. We've seen them go towards a lot of damage dealer heavy comps today, as opposed to the 3-3. We've seen them play like a wrecking ball version of Goats, it's been a lot of different looks here from Paris today.
Okay, well, let's flip it on its head. Let's think about if we're Paris, what do we expect to see from the Defiant?
I mean, the last map they played a lot of Sombra on King's Row.
Yep.
I think potentially you could see Sombra again here.
It's pretty good defensively, right? I mean, it's pretty easy to wrap around attacking teams and sort of mess up their momentum by getting a really important hack.
So it looks like here they're going to actually go and play a Winston version of the 3-3. So this is really good to control the high ground.
Play corners pretty well with this.
Play the corners really well. You're able to just jump in, jump out, put a lot of cleave damage down. You won't be able to control the tunnel, be able to control that choke rather well. That'll be a position that the Paris Eternal can definitely take. I think the issue is that when the Toronto Defiant still control the high ground, then what we see a lot of teams do, what Paris may have to do is if they lose a fight or two, take the staircase all the way up around, force the Toronto Defiant back into the tunnel, not controlling that high ground, and then fight from the defensive side.
Paris are happy to play in chokes, so if they can force Toronto there, then it's all aces. Alright, so they've now probably spotted out that there's going to be a Winston here.
So you can play this two ways if you're Toronto. You can jump down here, take this fight, jump back out, then take it on the other side and control the high ground. Or you can kind of try and pinch them. But it seems like Toronto playing very far back. They want to let them get through the tunnel here.
Shouldn't Yakun be trying to get Primal Rage before the Eternal get point A?
But look, so Paris is doing exactly what I was talking about. They're rotating. They get it to this point. Now they've rotated up to the high ground. And they want to try and force the Paris Eternal down from this position. They know if they can force a fight in just open space, that you like your chances with Reinhardt versus the Winston.
Okay, this looks okay for the Defiant. Look, they're not taking too much damage. They're able to stay relatively well in position here. Yakpung's not really getting much attention paid in his direction. I'm 37th, able to be healed up here. This is all fine. But eventually, we need to hit a critical mass here where these two teams start actually trying to draw blood. Envy might be the first casualty.
Nano break, here we go.
Now, I'm 37, swing, swing, swing.
Or run away.
That one too. Yakpung tries to get to the back lines here. Ivy, good sound barrier from the high ground from Roki, but it's still not enough to keep Ivy alive. Ivy, who's been such a huge part of Toronto winning these maps, has been taken down there. A very inopportune moment. Charge from Cloudy.
I would have liked to see Toronto be more aggressive there.
That was so passive,
I think
man.
when you play that composition with the Winston, you have to at least try and trap them in the tunnel, right? Cleave from both sides. How many times do we see a Winston get a Primal Rage, like with just 2 jumps down, a bunch of cleave damage there, and cause chaos under the bridge?
Your win condition is often Primal Rage
switch off.
and self-destruct in fights like that, right?
Yeah.
You wanna, the best thing you can do against Reinhardt in a 3-3 is displace him. But the Defiant maybe looked a little bit unsure, maybe didn't understand what Paris are trying to do. But for me, it looked very simple. Paris sat on the cart, went through the choke, and then waited for Toronto to come to them.
So now they'll switch right over to the Reinhardt 3-3. They're going to be behind in terms of Shatter, obviously, and Transcendence. Nice bash by I'm37 trying to prevent some of the aggression, but Cloudy with a big Shatter connects with 2.
Nicely done there. Good setup for the Shatter. Sometimes you're going to take chances like that one, but that looked very much premeditated from the Paris Eternal. They look far better on this map. Point B, but secured.
But it kind of all comes out of point A. I mean, you end up having to switch your main tank, switch to support, you use sound barrier. Now you have to jump off the side to get the spawn. I mean, this is a perfect example how losing one fight at the beginning and changing your composition puts you behind. I mean, look at this. Now we're going to go over and play some Sombra here. So, I mean, you may end up with only one really good fight if you're Toronto in terms of ult. So now we're going to go back to D.Va here if you're Envy. So
okay, fair enough.
Maybe you want to play the D.Va here just to try and get the Eat of Soon's grab. Well, you're still working towards Transcendent and Sound Barrier here.
Both grabs let go, and there is support layering again from the Paris Eternal. And this time, Matt, there isn't an excuse. Rally from I'm37 as they come forward. Earthshatter attempt here from Yakpung, and Cloudy's about to get his now. Oh, that looks good. Nice. Ivy knocked to the ground, Yakpung down, Grey with 2. Just laying those orbs in on those downed targets. Matt, the Paris Eternal are going to have one of the faster times on Gibraltar by the looks of things.
I mean, they've looked fantastic on this map, even with the layering of the support ults there. Really, I think Toronto, they kind of really messed this one up at the beginning. Their point A defense was really poor. I mean, now you get the rally that comes out from Shadowburn here, all the armor that provides. There'll be sound barrier here from Brogy, connects with 3 other players, but I don't know if this is enough.
The key is to get rid of Yakpung now before he gets back into spawn. He's able to escape, but UP37 has nothing to do to prolong his lifespan now. Can't still be contested. It's Ivy and Yakpung up there, and Neko on the right-hand side. This is quite annoying to the Eternal, especially with Envy able to get a D-suit after going for the self-destruct. However, no kills on the side of the Toronto Defiant, so it's very hard to slow the Eternal's momentum. Ice Wall thrown up on the point straight in towards the ice block for UP37. Envy, Gray needs to get rid of the Diva, and he does. Nicely done. Yakpung will roll on in. He's rolling, they hate him. And the Paris Eternal, plenty of time left in the bank. Much better here. And this is an important map victory for them, not only for morale, but also to show that they can do it. Important practice now, as Gibraltar will likely be in a map pool in coming stages, especially stage 3. We'll be back in just a moment with extra innings. The flame still burns for the Eternal. More than 3 minutes of a lead in time bank they've now amassed, but I've seen teams finish Gibraltar in overtime. So Paris need to make sure that they batten down the hatches and make a solid defense here.
Now, what does Toronto do on offense? They have the series in their favor already. Up 3-0, but you still would like the map for the map differential. That we go, we're getting really, I mean, we're already going to the All-Star break. That's pretty crazy to think about. Season's moving quick. Let Neko come out on the hog here at the beginning. Maybe just trying to get a,
oh no, well,
you hate to see it.
I wonder, Nico did see the Roadhog, I'm quite sure. It's pretty hard to miss the Roadhog.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, I'd be worried if he didn't see
the
it.
Eternal have no way to control high ground now. They're playing the Reinhardt composition, so they can't really drop in. So the Toronto Defiant, it's going to be very hard to take them by surprise now.
It's no reason to panic, though, if you're Paris. I mean, you do have 4 minutes and 18 seconds on the clock. As Toronto, I mean, we're getting down to 20 seconds here, and they're not even close to really point A yet.
Full charge on. Oh, we took a big hit of damage there, though. Ivy needs to be careful. Nice bionic grenade from Neko to keep him up. And yeah, very satisfying sound. He's putting out a lot of damage right now, but the Eternal are contesting on the corner, so they can kind of keep the cart still while staying in a line of sight. Cloudy super doesn't want to be there. He really would like to be back with the rest of his team right now.
Nice help from Nico to get him back.
Yeah, and look at him now. Gets a Zaya bubble. He's back to full health. Repair pack well used here. Now the Eternal can turn this one around. They've got a Transcendence here. No Zenyatta for the Toronto Defiant. Echo goes with Anubis here. Now, is there a bionic grenade to follow this one up? Great. Transcendence couldn't save Cloudy, man. That's pretty rough, really, if you think about it. When the opponent didn't have Transcendence, you do, and still it doesn't work out.
They get a hack on a Cruz as well, so even if Cruz got the sound barrier, you weren't going to be able to use it there. So now Paris, they have to play around this Graviton Surge Shatter. I mean, they're going to have their sound barriers. Oh, Gray switches to Ana here, so you want to get that biotic grenade in. Cloudy's actually asleep here. So
what do they do with it?
They're going to charge back. Oh, nice.
This could get out of hand, fans. I'm warning you.
But this is what we talked about with Paris. It's like their games are so close, and then they have like 1 or 2 plays that ends up deciding the entire course of the series. And I mean, you look back, and it's so tough. I mean, 1 or 2 fights.
Here's my lukewarm take. If the Eternal don't win this next fight, the map will be finished by Toronto in overtime.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, there's still a lot to go. Here's an early grab here. You're going to get Ivies.
4-player bionic grenade. Now 4-player EMP. It's all going wrong for the Eternal. It's a disaster. Nico tries to drop down, but he's hacked in mid-air by Envy. Gets back up to the high ground at least. And the cart still moves, unperturbed and unaware as to the roiling mess that is occurring around it. The Defiant are very close to point B now, with Gray getting absolutely dunked on. Nico was hacked. Envy's just chilling. Up to the high ground, perhaps Shadowburn's going to be hacked as he tries to drop down to the point as well. Cloudy, Shadow gets up 37, not bad, but needs to be better. Oh dear, point B for Toronto in overtime. It's one of those games.
So this has gone from bad to worse for the Paris Eternal. So this is a push that started with a minute on the clock. They have taken point A, they have taken point B. Now, as we make the payload around the corner, you got a grab here from Ivy. You know, counter shatter for the grab that Soon's got coming up next. You know, you do have the big combo though with self-destruct and the grab coming in the open space.
Grab and grab. Soon lets his go. Both teams look at each other dead in the face, but the Earth Shatter is good from Yakung. He cannot follow up though. He's taking too much damage at that item 37. Looks like the Paris Eternal might finally have put this one to rest, man. But I tell you what, the Defiant got a heck of a lot further than they had any business going.
Is that now, you know, Paris, I mean, they had a great time bank, right? But it's going to be really tough to get to this distance because Toronto really, I mean, they gave it to Paris with a really bad point A hold and they switched up everything on point B. Paris really took advantage of that ultimate advantage that gave them. I don't know if they're going to get that this time. We'll see what Toronto comes out with here on their point A defense and how they decide to play it. But I feel like that was a big opportunity for Paris to get a hold there that, you know, a hold early that really slipped by him.
This is Matt. I've been extremely happy with Ivy so far in this series.
Oh, doubt, yeah.
Look, he's pretty critical of himself. He was on their last match about his Graviton Surge usage. He's looked very good so far. His grabs have all been impactful.
But you see when Yakpung has a good game, right? And you know you're able to keep him alive, and he's landed these big shatters. He's played awesome today, and they're like a completely different team. It's a completely different team because you got really strong players all over the place here for Toronto. It's like if they can keep him like consistent playing at this level, you'll see them go back to their stage 1 play right away.
4 minutes and 18 seconds is a heck of a long time in the Overwatch world. But
they come out with a different comp on defense as well. No, they don't want to play the Winston here.
Okay.
They want to play the Rhino.
Well, that's in all fairness,
it's a more
it looks like they didn't feel comfortable on Winston.
No, without a doubt, yeah.
You'd expect them to have tried to engage a couple more times, make use of the fact that, I don't know, Winston can jump in the air. They didn't do that.
Yep. Did not utilize the mobility of Winston.
Did not use his basic physical mechanics.
But I mean, look, this is more of a straightforward approach, right? They can get down inside of the choke here. And you do have the danger of Paris walking into like these biotic grenades that Neko's been laying down from a distance.
Well, we saw one come out from Neko there. Grey down though.
Keep him alive.
Yakung almost. I think it's okay here if Nico gets taken down now, staggered out. Ivy has to be careful. He got pinned there and Cloudy just swoops in like a superhero. No tank presence really, and yeah, that was going to be an easy shatter. Reinhardt already out of the picture, and Cloudy, well, he nailed it.
I mean, he doesn't land that shatter. You may be able to keep this going if you're Toronto. Neko actually landed a biotic grenade that connected with I'm 37, so gave him the healing boost, and then Soon, and they were able to get the pick onto the Zarya. So, Envy, you're gonna have to fight this one without your diva if you're Toronto coming up next. I think you almost have to, you know, make an attempt here. I mean, 3 minutes on the clock, it's a ton of time.
Cloudy already swinging the Yakung as he came out the door. Big biotic grenade on towards Cloudy, but they managed to wait it out. Cloudy gets a repair pack, he's back. Discord Orb on Yakung, can see why he's pretty reluctant to swing, but he gets the Zarya bubble. But then a Discord Orb gets placed straight back on him. He keeps his shield up despite the Earth Shatter, and he's now got one for himself. The Eternal have a Transcendence. Good support all rationing this time from Paris. That looked much better. Greyna getting the Transcendence out. Shadowban goes down. And look for the high ground here. Envy's out to be pretty comfortable. He can harass. He's been doing a lot of good work in that defense matrix here.
The cart!
Oh, it got across the line. Makes no sense, really. Toronto just stepping off of it. And the Eternal, 2 minutes 23, and they're eyeing off that one more checkpoint.
Yeah, I'm watching it from like the bird's eye view, and I actually saw for a second there that they stepped off of the cart and they went to go challenge somebody on the side, and I was like, and I'm watching it, and there's nobody from Paris on the cart. And I'm like, if I had, I'm like, if somebody actually just touches the cart here for Paris, it's gonna go over the line. They're gonna get the point. Ends up happening that way. Envy goes away from Diva now. We'll go to Sombra. So, I know he's played a pretty good Sombra in the series thus far. 46 enemies hacked on the map. Just this one
Soon.
for him is Soon. He was hacked up, couldn't do anything.
Dive with grab as well, not ideal. And now is the attacking team for Paris. If you let Toronto set up, Sombra loves playing the high ground on this defense, by the way. The hacks are very easy to get. You want the Defiant to group up here. Paris have the grab, they have the shadow. and they have the Ana. Now, Gray is likely to try and play from the high ground himself, I would say, or at least on his own a little bit. Envy will be looking for the Ana.
Yeah, I mean, you play, if you're the Defiant, you play up here on the high ground, right? You get all the hacks you want. They have to walk in through the chokes.
Alright, just go for the grab. Yep.
Oh, big biotic grenade.
Cloudy got hacked there as well. Yakpum's able to get a pretty comfortable Earth Shatter, and Gray is down. 1 for 1 though. Cloudy has his Shatter though. Yakpum, you think if he's going to swing aggressively, because he got Nano Boost, right? It's an opportunity to get a big Shatter. Nano Boost there from Neko.
And he's up on the high ground, Neko, just uncontested. So he's able to put down a ton of healing here. Just doing whatever he wants. I mean, he could land these biotic rays from behind. Now they know where he is.
They
now they
finally
want to
figured it
jump
out,
on him,
man.
yeah.
Neko stay alive a little longer, but...
Well, he's just staggering himself out at this point, yeah.
That sleep dart didn't connect, by the way.
They're just keeping him alive.
What do you do here? The Paris Eternal now, the home stretch, has begun. The Toronto Defiant are a little bit further outside of here. As we saw, they didn't quite finish the map, but they got pretty darn close. The Eternal already have another Earth Shatter, so Cloudy's done well, or at least they may have held that one. Soon.
EMP, though.
Yeah.
In one fight, EMP.
Or just hack Nico, make it impossible for him to rejoin his front line. What's it? Envy is looking for an EMP, though. You can definitely... Oh, okay. Hack Cruz. He can't sound barrier now in response. EMP. Oh, it's huge! 6 from Envy. That looks nice, but where's the follow-up? The Paris Eternal getting 2 kills early in the fight. Cruz still manages to get the sound barrier off. Yeah, he goes down there.
Shatter and grab.
Graviton Surge. Shatter. All right, well, Cloudy not able to get too much with his. And look at this. The Eternal are giving Toronto time to group up again, Matt. They're sort of grouping together, playing slow Parasar. And think about how close Toronto is spawning here. They're going to be out of pressure now. Cloudy goes down. Ivy's looked good, man. He's looked real good, and soon he's got no choice. Crazy stuff here. The Paris Eternal looked like they were well positioned to take this one away, but even the final map will be denied from them. Definitely not going to leave a good taste in the mouth of the Parisians, but the Toronto Defiant will be all smiles, returning to 500 at the midway point of the season. Great improvements in tank play overall for this Toronto team. They should be happy now.
Yeah, and for the Paris Eternal, that is a tough one to go into the break, losing to the Spark in 3-2 fashion, then getting swept here by Toronto, especially on the last map. I mean, you had 4 minutes in the bank to work with, and you give up a great push from the Defiant. You can't do anything on your offensive side or get it across the line there towards the end. That's a rough go for Paris into the break.
Not much you can really do about a 6-man EMP, but even despite that, we saw Paris were able to clap back and get 2 quick kills in that fight. They started to look like that they were, gaining some momentum. It was a Graviton Surge that was not super convincing by Ivy, but still managed to catch everyone up. However, his performance of the rest of the series has been great. Let's have a look now at our Open by HP player of the match, and
who is it?
I may have had a hand in this one.
Yeah, you spoiled it.
It's Ivy. Played excellent. I didn't spoil it, I just alluded to it. It's a big difference,
Yeah, I mean, I know. He was sick on the Zarya all series long. I think you really see him. I think he plays his best on this role. I think he really looked out of sorts when he was playing for Agita, and I'm 37, was playing the Zarya. And I think since they made this switch, with him going back to the Zarya, you can power him up, play around him, and he's a player who, when he's playing well, can definitely carry this one.
That was quite funny, that little moment there.
Yeah.
But Ivy is continually showing us hints that there's much more to him than just Desire. And as we think about the rest of the season now, opportunities for him to demonstrate his abilities on heroes like the Pharah, like the Genji, there will be more of those as time goes on. This is a player who you should definitely start looking to be a dominant feature in the late season and even next year. Here's your season standings now after that particular match. And, well, yeah, the Eternal now up there in 16th place. The Defiant are on the cusp, though. This is really, you want to be here. You're not feeling too much pressure. You still get to be the underdogs with a chance of upset potential heading into the later part of the season.
And this match really hurts Paris. I mean, you need to get maps for map differential. You need to get wins. You now fall down behind the charge. I mean, look, the Valiant had they've had a decent stage this far as well. I mean, they could easily, make some moves, come up in the second half of the year, right? Come on and pass you. So I think this is a huge match for the Defiant as well to keep them in it. I mean, look, they have to play the Defiant right again, right? They lose that one 4-0. You got the Uprising, who's always a playoff contender, NYXL, the Uprising twice, Seoul Dynasty. So you have some tough games coming up here for Paris.
It looks like a mixed bag, but they need to be dealing with the majority of these teams if they want to be considered a true force. You have a stage with, matches up against the Mayhem and the Outlaws, which, those two teams have definitely been struggling. You have 50-50s potentially up against the Defiant and Uprising. If you can really lift, then you can threaten Seoul, you can threaten New York, but there needs to be a lot of rebuilding happening in the break. It is a longer break than normal, so that is definitely going to be important for teams, not only to get some R&R, which I definitely think they've earned at this point, but also to sort of look towards a changing meta, perhaps, or a changing approach. Move some players around if you have to, that's fine.
Yeah, I think for Paris, you go into the break, you really try and work on some of your damage dealer heavy comps. I think they looked, pretty good today. I think at times, though, definitely faltered. And then I think they also need to go back and look at some of the things they're doing with the triple tank, triple support.
So that does it for our first match of this last day of Stage 2. Coming up next, though, Washington goes up against Boston. The Uprising need to keep chalking up these W's. They've looked a little bit inconsistent this stage, and Washington, but they got a lot of work to do, and it all starts here right after the break. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.